Welcome to the Rare Historical Memories channel. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more videos like this one. March.
In 1878, captured Cheyenne Indians were imprisoned in Dodge City Jail while seeking a return to the Black Hills, a somber image symbolizing the painful displacement and fierce resistance defining America's turbulent frontier conflicts and struggles. In 1898, Arizona, workers laid tracks for a new railroad across the barren desert, creating an iron path, effectively binding the wild frontier to broader commerce, migration, and the relentless march of modern industrial progress. In 1909, Utah, explorers and horses traversed the hot, slick rocks of Navajo Mountain en route to Rainbow Bridge, capturing a timeless scene of endurance and discovery amidst the rugged landscapes of America's Wild West. Sheriff Big Jim Courtright, known for his temper and gunfights in Texas between 1876 and 1879, was fatally shot in an 1887 gambling duel, an episode reflecting the constant violence and everyday dangers of the Old West. In 1908, a group of hunters proudly poses beside their rustic cabin, accompanied by mules, dogs, and rifles, in the remote landscapes of the Four Peaks region within the Brown Basin of the Arizona Territory. In 1875, San Juan County, Colorado, miners camped at the North Star and Mountaineer lodes, enduring the rugged alpine wilderness in pursuit of fortune during the challenging expansion of America's booming mining frontier. History. In 1893, Arizona, Apache laborers deliver hay to American settlers, presenting an image reflecting adaptation, cultural intersections, and the shifting survival roles imposed upon indigenous communities during a time of rapid change in the West. In August 1872, the first house rose on the present site of Dodge City, Kansas, marking the humble beginnings of a frontier settlement destined to become a legendary symbol of the American Wild West history. Taken around 1899, this image shows successful hunters displaying trophies at Williams Fork in northwest Colorado, a region famous for attracting figures like Theodore Roosevelt for adventures amidst the vast and wild American Western landscapes. Cowboys relax and drink in an unidentified saloon in Dallas, Texas in 1902, where a polished wooden bar and warm lighting create a cozy atmosphere typical of Western gatherings, where stories echoed across the room. A portrait from 1890 depicts Patrick Floyd Jarvis Garrett, the renowned lawman and Lincoln County Sheriff, best known for fatally shooting the infamous outlaw Billy the Kid in 1881, cementing his legacy in Western history. Buckboard wagons ford the Gila River near San Carlos, Arizona in 1885, capturing a rugged frontier passage where determined settlers braved severe desert hardships while forging survival amid expansion and the untamed American Western wilderness landscape. This 1876 view of Main Street in Deadwood, South Dakota, captures the early days of a legendary town, famous for hosting icons like Wild Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane, later immortalized in countless Western films. In 1904 California, valuable land in a new territory is auctioned within a crowded tent, vividly capturing the raw ambition, intense speculation, and the restless pursuit of economic opportunity driving development in America's expanding West. A large group of cowboys gathers for dinner at the Ox Ranch in 1886, near present-day Childress, Texas, capturing a well-deserved moment of rest for these men after a long day of hard labor on vast lands. A photograph from 1890 captures the bustling main street of Dodge City, Kansas, a lively frontier setting that earned a legendary reputation as a gathering place for gunslingers, tough lawmen, and travelers from all walks. In 1907, a rider draws water from a desert well 30 miles north of Palomas, Arizona, while his weary horse drinks nearby under the relentless sun, illustrating the critical struggle for resources in arid lands. A debated photograph from 1880 shows the notorious outlaw Billy the Kid playing croquet with gang members in New Mexico, providing a rare, curious contrast to the feared reputation associated with this infamous bandit figure. In 1900, a massive steam tractor transports borax across Southern California, highlighting the industrial extraction of a mineral essential for manufacturing soap and glass, while playing a crucial role in the region's expanding commercial export trade. In 1906 Montana, Gros Ventre people at Fort Belknap Reservation gather outside their teepees, capturing a poignant scene of daily camp life, cultural tradition, and enduring resilience amid the difficult challenges of forced reservation existence. A striking portrait depicts Pat Garrett, the famed sheriff of the American West, remembered for enforcing law on turbulent frontiers, and his legendary, ultimately fatal role in pursuing the notorious young outlaw, Billy the Kid. This photograph captures a father standing with his older children in front of their home in Fries, Virginia, while the mother and younger siblings are notably absent from this glimpse into rural family life. History. In 1901 Montana, a Cheyenne man poses beside a traditional teepee with his 2 wives and children, depicting the ancestral family structure and lifestyle of the Cheyenne people living in harmony with the natural western plains. An 1894 jail photograph captures Butch Cassidy before he became the Old West's most notorious outlaw, famous for leading a gang to rob trains and banks across Utah, Nevada, Colorado, and the New Mexico territories. An historic 1908 postcard features Lucy B. Lane standing proudly outside her family business in Rhyolite, Nevada, a store supplying hay, grain, and fuel that reflected the daily commercial life of this booming mining town. A family of mining pioneers poses before modest cabins in Leadville, Colorado during the 1879 Silver Rush, revealing the simple, resilient lives of those enduring harsh conditions to pursue fortune in the Rocky Mountains' heart. Between 1867 and 1888, in Virginia City, Nevada, miners ascend from deep shafts, presenting powerful symbols of the exhaustion, peril, and sheer perseverance that fueled the massive industrial efforts of the great Comstock silver boom. In 1900, Langtree, Texas, Judge Roy Bean's saloon famously doubled as his courtroom, a place immortalized as the law west of the Pecos, where unconventional justice, liquor, and frontier lore blended into a unique legend. In 1900, Bisbee, Arizona, men gather intensely in a saloon over a game of faro, capturing the high-stakes gambling spirit and unruly leisure that define the social atmosphere of America's wild western frontier mining towns. Coal miners pose stoically in front of their rustic cabin, constructed from stone and mud at an unspecified location within the Colorado coal fields around 1900, illustrating the harsh living conditions of early industrial labor. An unidentified Texas cowboy in 1880 carries a Colt single-action revolver and rests a Winchester rifle model 1873 on his arm, showcasing the typical essential weaponry and gear required for survival in the era's harsh frontier. In 1905, Hazen, Nevada, wooden saloons and rough establishments lined the dusty street, standing as potent symbols of vice, economic opportunity, and the unruly character that defined the social atmosphere of America's developing western frontier towns. In 1889, Guthrie, Oklahoma's first blacksmith shop emerged as an enduring symbol of frontier craftsmanship and resilience, highlighting the essential trades that anchored new communities and supported daily life during the rapid era of westward expansion. A massive log is transported on a wagon pulled by 8 powerful horses along a California railway line, while 2 men skillfully coordinate the difficult task, demonstrating the immense effort required in early logging industry operations. In 1886, a family from northwest DeMette County, Texas, poses in front of their farmhouse, capturing the quiet spirit of determination and the simplicity characterizing rural life during the challenging settlement of 19th-century Texas frontier lands. Emmett Dalton, the youngest brother of the notorious Dalton Gang, lived as a reckless gunslinger, participating in violent train and bank robberies during the late 1800s that permanently scarred the history of America's lawless western frontier. Chief Caswell, distinguished by his white beard, poses with customers outside his Monkey Saloon in 1890 Granite, Colorado, where a sign reveals an interesting historical detail. A glass of Denver beer cost only 5 cents back then. An iconic photograph depicts Wild Bill Hickok, the skilled gunfighter and gambler whose dramatic life ended when he was ambushed playing poker in 1876, sparking countless myths that forever shaped the popular imagination of the American West. Taken in 1862 during the Civil War, this photograph shows enslaved African Americans gathered around a horse-drawn cart at James Hopkinson's Casina Point plantation on Edisto Island, South Carolina, offering a glimpse into the reality of slavery. This 1898 photograph captures Jenny B. standing on the balcony of her brothel in Jerome, Arizona, a building that replaced one destroyed by fire, marking the success of a woman who became the territory's wealthiest female figure. An African-American settler family stands proudly before their sod house in Guthrie, Oklahoma, symbolizing the resilience and hope of pioneers who sought a fresh start during the land rush era of the American West. Wyatt Earp, a famous Old West lawman known for his firm hand against criminals, solidified his reputation after the 1881 gunfight at the OK Corral in Tombstone, Arizona, an event endlessly romanticized in film history. 5 Texas Rangers camp at the legendary King Ranch in 1890, posing with raised weapons ready for action, capturing the vigilant and resolute posture of these men who served as symbols of law and order. A group of men enjoys a moment of rest before the Bob's Saloon in Miles City, Montana, around 1880, illustrating how drinking and socializing offered a rare escape from the harsh grind of frontier life. The bustling rhythm of daily life unfolds along Franklin Street in Natchez, Mississippi in 1900, providing an authentic and vivid snapshot of social and commercial activity within the American South at the turn of the century. Photographed in 1905, the interior of a gaming saloon in Telluride, Colorado, reveals a vibrant social hub where locals drank and gambled, while the local sheriff can be seen closely observing the lively scene from the corner. A street scene captures Columbus, Nevada, a prosperous borax mining town in Esmeralda County during 1880, where the Pacific Borax Company's operations attracted workers and merchants seeking new opportunities in this bustling late 19th century commercial hub. A street scene in early 1890s Asheville, North Carolina, features a rickety covered wagon pulled by exhausted oxen that appear largely indifferent to the driver's whip, capturing the rugged reality of transport during that era. In 1909, Seattle, Washington, women pose elegantly before the Klondike Dance Hall and Saloon, capturing a vibrant era where frontier entertainment, music, and lively social gatherings played a central role in shaping the local community life. Goldie Williams, also known as Mag Murphy, was arrested for vagrancy in Nebraska in January 1898. Her defiant gaze in this mugshot revealing the harsh reality of frontier hardship and her unyielding, rebellious personal spirit. On September 25, 1917, Maddie Brown entered Nebraska State Prison for pickpocketing, serving a one-year sentence that reflected the nature of everyday petty crimes occurring amidst the shifting social landscape of America's World War I-era society. Bob Younger, a key member of the infamous Younger Brothers gang, joined Cole and Jim in executing a series of audacious robberies that left a lasting, violent mark on the turbulent history of the American Midwest outlaws. In 1882, at Forest Grove School, Oregon, students practiced blacksmithing skills, capturing a moment of industrial education and the determined drive to equip frontier youth with the practical trades necessary for America's rapidly transforming and modernizing future. Pictured around 1899, legendary sharpshooter Annie Oakley gained international fame for her extraordinary marksmanship, captivating global audiences through impressive shooting demonstrations performed while touring with the famed Buffalo Bill's Wild West show during the late 19th century. A farmer and his family stand proudly in front of their modest house in Cherry County, Nebraska in 1900, capturing the quiet resilience and determination typical of settlers establishing lives on the vast American Great Plains. This 1890 scene of Santa Fe's Main Street features bustling general stores serving travelers, marking a historically significant location where the infamous outlaw Billy the Kid was once held in custody and tried during the territory's turbulent era. In 1878, Dodge City, Kansas, a vast buffalo hide yard displays 40,000 pelts, standing as a stark testimony to rampant overhunting, booming frontier commerce, and the near-total destruction of America's bison population during that era. A group of Apache Native Americans from the Great Plains poses stoically in front of their traditional thatched huts at an unidentified location in the American West in 1909, preserving a glimpse of their enduring cultural heritage. A Civil War soldier stands proudly beside his loyal horse, embodying deep resilience and camaraderie, while offering an enduring glimpse into the daily lives and sacrifices of ordinary men during the nation's most defining and bloody conflict. In 1861, a Pony Express rider sits mounted and ready, embodying speed, endurance, and the daring spirit that briefly connected America's isolated frontier with distant communication networks before the telegraph changed the landscape of information forever. Texas Ranger Joseph Walter Durbin poses with his horse in Rio Grande City, Texas in 1888. A dedicated lawman who later became Frio County Sheriff, his memoirs provide an authentic, detailed account of life in the Old West. 3 mail carriers in Washington, D.C. stand for a photograph, their arms heavily laden with parcels and Christmas mail, capturing the holiday spirit and demanding workload faced by postal workers during the busy festive season of that era. The facade of a brothel in Creek, Colorado, captured in 1900, features several people, including ladies of the night, posing in a carefully arranged manner that creates a scene typical of such establishments in the Old West frontier. In 1876, Deadwood, Dakota Territory, a bustling gold rush town, emerges, its crowded wooden streets reflecting fortune seekers, rapid urban growth, and the lawless spirit defining the chaotic atmosphere of America's mining frontier during the late 19th century. Teachers pose alongside their students in front of the modest wooden structure known as Dead Man Valley School in Stanley County, South Dakota, an 1889 photograph reflecting the simplicity of educational institutions in frontier regions during that period. Photographed in Virginia during the Civil War, General George Armstrong Custer built a distinguished military career before his tragic 1876 defeat at Little Bighorn by native forces led by Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, cementing his historical legacy. A group of Texas Rangers stands aligned for a photograph in 1886, representing an elite law enforcement force founded in 1823 that faced countless challenges from native conflicts to pursuing outlaws, solidifying their reputation in Old West history. Around 1890, 3 men stand beside a sturdy ox team in a dense forest near Hayes Mill in the High Sierra of Tulare County, California, capturing the rugged labor required to harvest timber in these remote mountains. In 1912, San Diego, 20-year-old Juanita McCamey was arrested for criminal conspiracy after joining a labor protest, an event reflecting the intense tensions and social unrest characterizing America's early labor rights struggles and the fight for workers' justice. In February 1926, Frank Carter, the notorious Omaha sniper, was arrested and convicted of 2 murders after confessing to dozens more, ultimately seeing his insanity plea fail before his execution in 1927 ended his violent criminal spree. In 1890 Kansas, a pioneering family of 7 members stands proudly before their rustic wooden cabin, capturing the unity, resilience, and hope that defined the spirit of settlers forging new lives on the challenging American frontier plains. A rare 1864 photograph depicts famous outlaw Jesse James at 16, just before leaving home to fight as a Confederate guerrilla, a path that eventually led him to lead one of the era's most feared criminal gangs. Between 1867 and 1888, in Virginia City, Nevada, weary miners emerged from deep shafts, embodying the grueling physical labor, constant danger, and sheer determination that drove the massive industrial efforts behind America's legendary Comstock silver mining boom. Captured in 1889, this iconic photograph shows the Wild Bunch gang inside a Utah saloon, featuring the famous Sundance Kid and notorious leader Butch Cassidy, preserving a rare moment of leisure for these legendary Old West outlaws. cowboys take shelter inside an underground dugout in Clay County, Texas in 1906, utilizing improvised strategies to escape the region's intense heat or sudden storms, illustrating the harsh realities of working environments on the rugged western frontier. In Montana, skilled cowboys brand restless calves within a dusty corral, a scene capturing the demanding physical labor, deep-rooted ranch traditions, and the rugged spirit that defined daily life in the heart of America's vast cattle country. This photograph depicts the main street of Kingston, New Mexico, a town founded in 1882 following the discovery of abundant silver deposits, which rapidly transformed the settlement into a prosperous frontier city teeming with growth and opportunity. A busy 1880 street scene captures Telluride, Colorado, formerly known as Columbia, where covered wagons fill the canyon town as it transforms into a major gold mining center, drawing crowds in search of wealth and new opportunities. A portrait shows Olive Oatman, kidnapped in 1851 Arizona and raised in captivity for 5 years, bearing a distinctive blue chin tattoo that remains a haunting symbol of her survival and eventual return to recount her story. A young boy stands affectionately beside a calf, likely accompanied by his younger siblings, in front of their family farm in Chester, South Carolina, capturing a tender moment of rural childhood and connection with animals in nature. In 1890 Montana, a Cheyenne family pauses for photographer Christian Barthelmess on a reservation, creating a valuable record that preserves key moments of daily life and Native American history during the complex era of westward frontier expansion. Miners pose before their rough cabin in 1890 Colorado, reflecting the harsh reality of mining life, while a horseshoe hanging above the door symbolizes a desperate hope for luck amidst the challenging and unforgiving frontier environment. On August 8, 1901, eager settlers gathered at Anadarko townsite, Oklahoma, where chaotic land auctions, makeshift banks, and canvas tents marked the spirited birth of a new frontier community during the frantic rush for available Western territory. Around 1900, in northeast Piscataquis, Maine, a group of successful hunters stands before a rustic cabin, proudly displaying the deer they harvested during their trip, capturing a traditional scene of survival and sport in the remote wilderness. In May 1925, Mary Shannon received a 2-year sentence in Nebraska State Prison for mayhem, a violent offense involving grievous bodily harm that reflected the harsh justice and social unrest characterizing the turbulent Prohibition era in America. In 1890 Colorado, miners pose outside their modest cabin, revealing harsh living conditions, while a horseshoe hanging above the door serves as a poignant symbol of hope for luck within that tough, unforgiving, and rugged mining environment. In 1889, Humboldt County, California, men pose inside the Table Bluff Hotel and Saloon, surrounded by hunting trophies and spirits, embodying the deep camaraderie and rugged social culture that defined life in the American West's remote frontiers. In 1890, Mason County, Kentucky, a seasoned hunter stands beside his loyal hound, forming a devoted pair that reflects years of bonding and shared work while traversing the rugged trails and forests of the American rural landscape. In September 1866, John Ellies stood accused of horse theft, a serious capital offense reflecting the lawless disorder and the strict, unforgiving brand of justice that defined the social order of America's unsettled and dangerous western frontier. A photo depicts Charles Earl Bowles, known as Black Bart, the gentleman bandit who robbed stagecoaches in the 1870s without firing a shot, leaving behind poetic verses that cemented his reputation as an enigmatic Old West legend. In Arizona's rugged Four Peaks region around 1900, trappers and hunters pose alongside their dogs, burros, and pelts, capturing a vivid scene of frontier survival and family labor within the remote wilderness of Browns Basin. Crowds flood Reno, Nevada on July 4, 1910 for the historic heavyweight match between Jack Johnson and James Jeffries, filling a custom-built arena that transformed the city into the center of the sporting world for thousands. On September 14, 1904, the notorious outlaw John Sontag was mortally wounded by gunfire, and this haunting photograph captures his final dying moments while surrounded by armed men who symbolized the harsh reality of frontier justice. In 1869, Corinne, Utah. Various frontier storefronts line a dusty street where hardware shops, jewelers, and painters reflect the bustling commerce, ambition, and daily life defining this burgeoning western town during a time of rapid growth. Pawnbrokers, humorously named Beware and I Steal, posed before their log cabin in 1886, Ironton, Colorado, where their rustic storefront reflects the relaxed, enterprising spirit of merchants thriving during the San Juan region's silver mining boom. Around 1890, two women working in the adult entertainment industry pose inside their establishment, illustrating a golden age of saloons, where female proprietors often managed businesses to serve the large population of men migrating to the frontier. In 1886, 11-year-old Jimmy McKinn, abducted by Geronimo's Apache a year earlier, was photographed standing among them, a poignant image symbolizing captivity, complex cultural bonds, and frontier conflict just prior to the famous leader's final surrender. An advertising poster for the legendary Pony Express promises swift mail delivery from St. Joseph, Missouri to California in 10 days or less, highlighting the daring speed required to traverse the rugged and dangerous western frontiers. A team of workers and families poses before the Black Bear Mine in 1890, Boulder County, Colorado, under a carved wooden bear symbol, offering a rare glimpse into the daily lives of Old West mining communities. In the vast territory of Utah, 3 men, a woman, and a dog, likely a family unit, stand beside a covered wagon, capturing the isolation and companionship inherent in the journey across the American western landscape. In 1895, Woods County, Oklahoma, a teacher poses with her students before a sod schoolhouse, a powerful image symbolizing resilience, the value of frontier education, and the determination to build a strong community through shared learning. A couple walks cheerfully side by side along the sidewalk in downtown Ken, Texas, in 1898, elegantly dressed and smiling as they enjoy a rare, happy moment of leisure amid the daily routine of this small town. In 1895, New Mexico, a family poses outside their home while a Native American servant holds their child, capturing a complex image that reflects the deep cultural intersections and distinct social hierarchies present on the American frontier. A wagon train of immigrants traveling westward pauses for a photograph in the Wyoming Territory in 1875, capturing the adventurous spirit and determination of pioneer families facing inhospitable landscapes in search of new opportunities and better lives. A young boy proudly poses in his horse-drawn wagon in Tonopah, Nevada, around 1900, reflecting the pioneering spirit of a region at the height of the silver rush that attracted adventurers seeking wealth in the arid West. This remarkable photograph, dating around 1899, depicts a group of hunters posing in front of a rustic log cabin with their game displayed nearby along the Williams Fork River in the rugged landscapes of northwestern Colorado. An unusual scene captured inside the Castle Saloon in Castle, Utah in 1905 shows a patron posing for the photograph alongside his horse, creating a unique, humorous moment within the establishment that defies typical barroom etiquette. A warrior from the Ute tribe and his young wife pose on horseback near the Green and Uinta Rivers in 1874 Utah, representing a people who have inhabited the Great Basin region for over 10,000 years. A small group from the Southern Paiute tribe is photographed in 1890 Utah, survivors of a region marked by the tragic 1866 Circleville Massacre, where fear led settlers to kill 30 Paiute men, women, and children. In 1886, Loup Valley, Nebraska, a family pauses with their covered wagon, presenting an enduring image of the hardship, hope, and sheer resilience that defined the human experience during America's historic era of Great Western Migration. Two prostitutes pose inside a lavishly adorned brothel in Miles City, Montana, an unruly frontier town of just 1,000 residents that became infamous for its saloons, brothels, and a culture of lawless indulgence and vice. Pawnshop owners pose in front of their log cabin in 1886 Ironton, Colorado, where a simple facade and humorous signage reflect the pioneering, light-hearted spirit of merchants thriving during the height of Rocky Mountain mining. A pioneer family rests near their wagons along the Oregon Trail in 1890, where barefoot children highlight the harsh, simple reality of frontier life, an authentic detail rarely depicted in Hollywood films that often romanticize history. Jim Younger, one of the three infamous Younger brothers, joined Cole and Bob in robbing banks and trains, helping to create a feared criminal legacy that spread terror across America's turbulent and often violent Midwest frontier. In 1889, Guthrie, Oklahoma, a new settler surveys land for a town lot, a moment symbolizing the raw ambition, economic opportunity, and deep uncertainty that defined the turbulent beginnings of the famous Oklahoma land run history. Inside a Virginia City saloon in March 1898, a man nicknamed Dead-Eyed Dick, recognized by his eye patch, stands among friends in a scene that authentically captures the typical social atmosphere of Old West drinking establishments. In 1886, a band of Apache prisoners rests beside the Southern Pacific Railway near the Nueces River in Texas, serving as somber, living witnesses to the painful displacement and violent frontier conflict defining that turbulent era. In September 1866, John Ellis faced accusations of horse theft, a grave frontier crime that symbolized both the rampant lawlessness and the harsh, unforgiving brand of justice shaping the social order of America's turbulent western territories.